going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode podcast to talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. Huge shout out to the people that are currently in the chat. We got Freddie, we got John, we got Adrian, we got Assassin, we got Juan, Sarah, Chef, Jake, Freddie. What's up, y'all? Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up the like button here on your way in. Today, we got some Arizona Cardinals football to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, it's been forever since we are on the microphone delivering a podcast here live and talking about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. And overall, guys, there's good vibes amongst the Bird Gang, but there's some specific Cardinal fans that kind of want to blow some stuff up out of kind of make, mountains out of molehills. And like I said before, I'm kind of the guy that does that. But at the end of the day, this is preseason. What I saw in this game was exactly what I wanted to see. And that was, these second stringers, third stringers fighting for a specific role. But we're going to be diving into what Kyler Murray said about his interception, what Jonathan Gannon said about Kyler Murray's interception, and what Jonathan Gannon overall said about the overall W, because I feel like that is what we really should be focusing on, right? What we saw in week one. But I feel like the big storylines leaving is Kyler Murray threw a god-awful interception. And whether you think it's a no-look pass or it's just a god-awful interception in general, it happened, right? It happened. The number one thing is that hopefully Kyler Murray learns from that specific situation. And I get it. Year 7, I understand, but we're all the thing we could do right now is kind of hope and pray that we don't see that type of play in the regular season in week 1 versus the New Orleans Saints. But ladies and gentlemen, let's go and get started here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about it, right? Let's start off with that, because I feel like that's kind of what making a lot of Cardinal fans kind of bicker amongst each other, right? We got this side, which is the Kyler Murray stands, that find every single angle they possibly can and say, oh, it was a no-look pass. That's exactly what he was doing. And here's the thing. Kyler Murray already said that he needed to throw more air into it, whether it was a no-look pass or he really just didn't make his head go over there because he didn't know that anybody was over there. Regardless, it happened, right? At the end of the day, it happened. And I think that's what we really got to focus on here. And we got to make things better just from the jump, right? So let's dive right into what Kyler Murray ended up having to say about the interception over the weekend, because that's what everybody's talking about. Like, let's be real. That's what everybody's talking about. So, all right, let's dive right into what Kyler Murray had to say.
Just didn't get enough on it. Again, that's something that in practice, it's tough to – I'm never really rolling out full speed as if somebody's actually going to tackle me, and yeah, it's weird. It's kind of weird to explain, but yeah, just got to get more on it. And then I'm glad it happened though. I'm glad it happened because I would hate for that to be New Orleans, and it means something,
I mean, I agree. I would hate for that to be a New Orleans as well. But overall, people aren't really talking about what Kyler Murray actually did when he was on the field, right? He ended up leaving this game 7 for 8, 96 yards. And then, of course, that interception that is now currently haunting some Arizona Cardinal fans. Now, I get it why there's some Cardinal fans that are kind of worried about that INT, because this isn't the first time that we're kind of asking ourselves the questions, why did you throw it there, right? Whether it's a deep shot in a Panthers game or what could have been an interception, but a penalty call, called it right back. We have seen Kyler Murray make some decisions like this were very puzzling, right? But like I said, I'm going into 2025 with fresh eyes, and I'm really hoping that we do not see that type of play ever again come regular season. But overall, he actually had a pretty darn good game. 7 of 8, 96 yards. Now, there could have been an opportunity for maybe a touchdown if the Arizona Cardinals decided to go for it on that 4th and short. But I think that the Cardinals did the right thing, and they ended up going for the points. I think that's one thing that this coaching staff and Jonathan Gannon really wanted to see, right? How are these number ones going to bounce back? How are they going to bounce back from Greg Dortch fumbling, right? And then the Arizona Cardinals offense moving it up the field and then kind of having a turnover, right? And then there was also a DJ Dallas almost turnover as well, right? So, like, there's a lot of things that were in play in this preseason game. And of course, the big storyline is Kyler, because he is the guy that everybody's watching, right? You got 10 eyes, 20 eyes, every single eye on Kyler Murray going into his year 7. And of course, people are going to make a bigger deal out of this interception, which I agree, it's not a good throw. It was a terrible throw, but at the end of the day, it's all about learning, right? How is he going to learn from it? And what really matters is week 1 of the regular season versus the New Orleans Saints. Now, also, on top of that, Kyler Murray, with the throwing, he also did get involved with his legs as well. Now, the numbers don't scream at you, but 2 carries, 9 yards. The Arizona Cardinals are doing their best to try to make sure that he is using both of his abilities on the field to make him the best Arizona Cardinal quarterback we possibly can, right? It's obvious that they're going to be using maybe 2 or 3 different plays, maybe design specific plays for Kyler Murray to take off with the ball, whether it's a draw play or give him the green light to kind of just run, right? That is what makes Kyler Murray explosive. Like, let's be real here. That is what makes Kyler Murray explosive. Now, I want to go ahead and be very clear. This is a big year for Kyler. And I don't think anybody out here is debating the fact that this is a massive year for Kyler. There's multiple eyes being put on this man, and rightfully so, right? We're all longing for a playoff run. We're all longing for a playoff berth at the end of the day. Now, there has been I'm not sure if you guys ended up seeing, but The Athletic, which is a very reputable organization or company, right? Very reputable company. They ended up putting out a list of top quarterbacks in the NFL going into the 2025 season right now. Right? They ended up putting a list going into the 2025 season right now. Now, of course, you got some people out there debating Kyler Murray should be higher on this list. There's some people out there saying, no, this is where Kyler should be. Regardless of where you are at right now, this is what the national perspective feels about Kyler Murray heading into the 2025 season, right? Whether you feel like he should be higher than 15, because if you don't notice, he's listed as what, tier 3 in the opinion of The Athletic. And I think the way that they ended up confounding this information, they ended up getting 6 general managers, 6 assistant general managers, 6 former GMs, 5 executive or other executives, 8 head coaches, and 19 other coaches, including 15 coordinators. That's what this list compiles of, right? And they all kind of came to the consensus that Kyler Murray is 15. And let's be real, we're getting the top 100, every single week. We're getting a dosage of what that top 100 is. I don't think Kyler Murray is going to make it in the top 100 again, which is, do I believe he deserves to be in the top 100? I mean, not right now. I mean, not what we've seen in the past few years. The last time he was in the top 100, he was probably back in 2022, right? Now, 2023, we ended up seeing what happened to Kyler, right? Unfortunately, he did not play the full year because of the injury that happened in 2022. And then the next year, in 2024, we know, started off really, really hot. And then, of course, crash and burn at the end of the season. So, Kyler most likely is not going to make it to the top 100. I'm not sure if you guys are expecting it, but the last time we have seen him, like I mentioned earlier, was back in 2022, and I believe he dropped to 50, like late 50s. At one point, he was like late 30s, right? In terms of like the top 100. He hasn't cracked the top 100 in years, and I don't expect him to crack the top 100 this year, right? They have Kyler Murray right now behind um, Brock Purdy, Love, Prescott, Mayfield, Hurts, CJ Stroud, Goff, Herbert, Daniels, Stafford, Jackson, Allen, Burrow, and Mahomes. Kyler Murray is sitting right there at number 15. And honestly, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at the ranking. I'm not mad. I really have no opinion, if I'm going to be real. I don't think Kyler Murray should be higher. I don't think Kyler Murray should be lower. At the end of the day, I think that he is where he needs to be. Like I'm going to be real. I think he is where he needs to be right now. Let him prove it. This is the time for him to come out here and absolutely prove that he can be a top 10 quarterback. This is the year for him to do so, right? So he's sitting on the outside looking in from the top 2 tiers. He's in the top, right? He's in front of Rodgers, Tua, Lawrence, Geno Smith, Nix, Darnold. Darnold's kind of high, but I get it. The last year he had a really, really good year, so okay, I'll give him that. May, which is going into his year 2. Williams going into his year 2. Bryce Young going into his, year 3 now? Cousins, and then you got the rest of the guys in tier 4 and tier 5, right? So for what it's worth, let's see what Kyler Murray ends up doing, right? But I get it, man. I completely understand why there's a lot of Cardinal fans right now still debating, and they're still debating it right now. There's to the day on social medias, whether it's on Instagram, X, or TikTok, or YouTube, people are still debating that Kyler should not be, I guess, the whole INT situation is really kind of being blown out of proportion. Like, if I'm going to be real, it's completely being blown out of proportion. Now, we did hear Jonathan Gannon talk about the INT as well. But first things first, I want to go ahead and get a listen into what Jonathan Gannon had to say about the win, right? Because we're not talking about the win as much as we're talking about the INT. I get it. It's preseason, but it's a good win overall. Let's listen into what Jonathan Gannon had to say about the win this last weekend versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, good game. Start is about not great with the takeaway, and then they score right away, and then we go all the way down the field and turn it over. But I told the team, I said that's good resilience. That's going to happen in every game. It's not going to go your way. But there was no flinch, and they battled, and some guys played some good ball in there today.
So a lot of people aren't really talking about the Dortch fumble as well. There was multiple turnovers for the Cardinals, right? Two, to be exact. It wasn't just Kyler, right? Dortch ended up fumbling a ball at the very first play to start the preseason. Very unfortunate, but that's the kind of the same thing. We hope that he learns from that, right? That's what we hope for. We hope that he learns from that. The Arizona Cardinals did lose one fumble. No, I apologize. There was 3 turnovers from the Cardinals. There was 1 interception from Kyler, 1 interception from Tune, and then the fumble loss by Dortch. So there was 3 turnovers for the Cardinals, 2 for the Kansas City Chiefs. And we know that one came from Keaton Crawford, and the other one ended up coming from Darren Hall. So overall, just like Jonathan Gannon ended up saying, the starters didn't start off good. They didn't. And he said it straight up. They didn't start off good, right? But it shows to the resilience and them kind of putting it behind them and learning from those experiences. And I'm honestly so glad and proud of this coaching staff for throwing these number ones back out there. Even when they looked pretty solid, with the exception of that interception thrown by Kyler Murray, this offense looks solid. Like there's probably some coaching staffs later or in earlier years, or maybe even this Jonathan Gannon coaching staff, they probably would have thrown him out for one drive. But I'm glad they threw him back out there. Honestly, I'm so glad that we threw him back out there, because I'm actually very surprised that we've seen Kyler Murray for pretty much a full quarter because, of course, the interception, and they came back in that second drive. And overall, they had some really good plays, right? We've seen some throws over to Marv, we've seen a throw over to Trey McBride. We've seen some throws over to who else caught the ball from Kyler? I mean, overall, it was a really good game. It was a good game. So I'm happy. I'm glad. Now, there was something that was asked of Jonathan Gannon that I also want to go ahead and play here as well. The media ended up asking Jonathan Gannon, do you feel like these players, right? Obviously talking about the quarterbacks, do you feel like it's not so much like necessary, but do you think it's kind of important for them to go through these bumps and bruises in preseason to kind of let them know what their limitations are in the regular season? This is what Jonathan Gannon had to say. I think I really like this clip and what he ended up saying in this clip. So let's dive right into what JG had to say.
Interceptions this time of year, whether it's in camp, preseason, joint practice, do you almost view that as a good thing or a necessary thing for an offense to figure out what it can, or a quarterback to figure out what it can do and can't be?
I mean, you guys just talked to the quarterback. I think he just left it a little bit short. I thought that was a really good play by that guy because he was not covering the guy that he was throwing it to. So hats off to him. That was a really good play. But no, Teo, Kyler knows the value of the ball, but again, I think, it's different when you're going against an opponent and it's live and it's really fast, So it's good to see, kind of the space out there and get his legs moving around a little bit, out of the pocket and stuff, because it's faster. There's no doubt. So I think that'll help him going into week 1, but I want us to make sure that we protect the football. We overcame the ball today. I think it was 3-2. I know we had the 2 picks, but they had the fumble, the interception, and the other interception. So they beat us on the ball there. You typically don't overcome that.
Yeah, I mean, good call out. Here's the thing, right? I have heard Jonathan Gannon come out and protect his players, right? And he's doing the same thing here. But I'm so glad that he actually made it known that no, Kyler Murray knows the value of the ball, right? He could have came out here and said, "Oh yeah, this was kind of a good thing, so Kyler Murray can learn and he knows his limitations or what he can do." No, he says Kyler Murray knows the value of the ball. Like that's kind of unacceptable. The interception shouldn't have been, not so much that it shouldn't have been thrown, but he's not happy about that, right? Obviously, he's not pissed off and blowing out of proportion, but he did say that Kyler Murray, knows the value of the ball. So he's not thrilled with it. Now, can it be a learning experience? Yeah, of course. Could be a learning experience. Absolutely. Because like Kyler Murray said, he would rather it be this week compared to week 1 versus the Saints. And overall, I mean, I do agree. But man, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I saw it, I was like, "Dude, what the heck just happened?" I don't even know. Like, I'm honestly kind of coming to the side of I'm hoping to believe those guys that are Kyler Murray stands that are now coming out with the narrative that this was a no look pass. I'm hoping to believe that that's actually the case, because this throw was not good. It was not a good throw at all. And just like Kyler and Jonathan Gannon had to say, it almost kind of felt like when he threw it, he just didn't have enough zip. He didn't have enough. Obviously, the throw wasn't good enough to go over that specific player that was right there sitting. Now, that player was supposed to be following Trey McBride. I'm not sure if the plan was that those two guys that were following Trey, if they were going to double him. I'm not sure. But he decided to sit, and that's where the ball was. So he definitely needed to put it a little bit higher up for Marvin Harrison Jr. to obviously fight or contend for it. But this is the big story that most people are talking about, and I get it. I get both sides of the coin, right? Both sides of the coin. You got the Kyler Murray guys, which, Kyler Murray can't do no wrong, are not coming up with the narrative, whether you believe or not. It's a no-look pass. Okay, whatever. It is what it is. And then you got the other side that feels a little snake bitten because we have seen this type of play by Kyler. Not so much straight to the guy because it was literally a dot, but to the opposing team. I'm talking about just these kind of boneheaded mistakes, right? Where you're throwing an interception, doing things that you probably shouldn't be doing, forcing. I get both sides of the coin. I really do. All we can do right now is focus on what's important, right? And what is important right now is the idea that these are much more important things to kind of focus on heading into week 2. Because we're in preseason at the end of the day, right? There was multiple turnovers that need to be cleaned up, right? Multiple. That's the Greg Dortch, the Kyler Murray interception, and on top of that, there was the Clayton Tune interception as well, which, however you decide to look at it, it is what it is. I don't know if Clayton Tune's going to make the 53 because are they going to carry 3 quarterbacks? Are they just going to carry 2 quarterbacks? We know Jacoby Brissett is leaps and bounds the best number 2 guy that we had in multiple years, but there was multiple turnovers to clean up. That is what should be the focus heading into week 2 versus preseason versus the Denver Broncos. Now, here's the question. Are the starters going to be starting in week 2 versus the Denver Broncos? I hope so. I absolutely hope so because any chance for Kyler to redeem himself, I think he should just go out there and show what he's worth. Honestly, go out there and prove it. Man, prove it. Have a clean game, which, like I said before, he had a pretty solid freaking game. He did. He really had a pretty solid game. Unfortunately, the interception, that was a very bad interception, was kind of the bigger story as opposed to him being 7 of 8 for 96 yards. He was commanding this offense. He looked better. He looked sharper, right? But there comes that word consistency that we're always talking about. Can he be consistent for entirety of a 17-game schedule, right? Now, let's see what happens here in week 2 versus the Denver Broncos. I really do hope to see them because I'm pretty almost positive that in week 3, we're not going to see the starters, and that's just usually how it goes. Week 3 is mainly about what are these bubble guys going to do, right? Who's going to be fighting for the 53-man roster? That probably is about 6-7 spots that are currently left available, right? So I hope we see him in week 2. It's going to be a real good test. Kyler Murray says he loves football, right? We saw Jonathan Gannon say that he's a football junkie. Any chance he wants to play, or he could play, he could play. He wants to play. So if I was Jonathan Gannon, I would kind of do the same thing. Throw him out there. If they have a really good series in the very first series and they take it and score a touchdown, pull them out in game 2. If it's something where they don't do well and you want to see a little bit more, throw him back out there again. I feel like it's very beneficial for him to get these reps at the end of the day. So main focus should be multiple turnovers and how to clean that up. Number 2, the offensive line looked actually pretty darn solid. The offensive line looked pretty darn solid. So I don't want to hear anybody. As long as this offensive line can stay healthy, I don't want to hear anybody blame anything on this offensive line. This offensive line and Isaiah Adams, like I mentioned months before, the Cardinals really like him. They want to give him the opportunity for that starting role at right guard. Now, yes, we just signed Will Hernandez a couple days back. I love it. I love that Will Hernandez came back, but I do think that the purpose of bringing him in is primarily for depth. Now, is he going to have a competition between him and Isaiah Adams? Maybe, right? Maybe when he gets off the PUP list, maybe. But I do believe right now it's Isaiah Adams' job to lose. And, of course, Jonah Williams, right? For Holt, Brown, as well as Paris Johnson Jr., they look pretty darn solid. Now, there was a stretch where Jacoby Brissett was getting knocked around left and right, and that was probably that very first drive where Jacoby Brissett could not look or blink because he was getting sacked or getting hit. They cleaned up after that. They cleaned it up real, real well. But overall, the offensive line looked pretty good. Defensive line, I think they look good. I think they look solid. I wouldn't put them as very good, but they looked solid, right? I would love to see a little bit more pressure from the ones, but I get it. Like, Patrick Mahomes ended up starting that drive, which was the only drive that Patrick Mahomes ended up starting in week 1 of preseason. He was within the 20 like that. He was like he was already in the red zone. He was already there because obviously the fumble of George. And then there was a PI called on Will Johnson. But before that, there was a big run from Pacheco. It had to be about 8-9 yards. So he already started up with his best foot forward, right? But overall, offensive line looked good, very solid. Number 3, what are the bubble players? What are the guys that are fringe guys that are going to make this roster or they're not going to make this roster? That's what we really should be focusing on, right? How great did Jordan Burch look? That's what we should be focusing on, right? Jordan Burch, a 3rd-round pick that I don't think anybody was as excited for. Everybody was like, okay, another defensive lineman. But the way he actually showed out in preseason game number 1, everybody's very, very excited to see what Jordan Burch can potentially do in his year 1. He looked good. He looked very disruptive. Dante Stills continuing to dominate when given the opportunity, right? Bubble plays. Xavier Weaver, is he going to make it? I think he will. But is he going to make it? Right? Those type of players. So we should be focused on knocking off the rust, right? Because although we have been in practice with pads on and playing physical football, right, especially in the trenches, the defense cannot tackle the quarterback. They can't. So now it's changed. Now it's going to be, this is real football, right? Training camp was fun. It was cool. It was great. 7-on-7s is awesome. You can clip it and say, oh, that looks great. Look at that. Look at that pass from Kyler Murray. But at the bottom line, there's no pressure coming at Kyler on 7-on-7s. 11-on-11s, I mean, there's pressure coming, but they're not going to get within 6 feet of Kyler. They know that. They're not going to risk injury from a training camp rep. This is as real football as it gets. So am I on board for potentially Jonathan Gannon to throw the starters back out there again in game or week 2 versus the Broncos? Yeah, I'm on board with it. 110%. I'm 110% on board with it if they do decide to do that. Now, the Denver Broncos did come off a crazy win over our division rival in the 49ers. I wasn't able to catch the entire game. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sit down, watch preseason football for a team I really don't cover, right? Of course, I ended up catching the Shador Sanders thing because it's intriguing, right? It's very intriguing. But Bo Nix started that game, right? Bo Nix was 6 of 11, 31 yards. We also ended up seeing Jarrett Stidham, which was 14 for 15, 136 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Sam Ehlinger was 6 for 10, 55 yards. They were letting the 49ers have it. 30-9 was the end of that Broncos versus 49ers game. So I would love to see this defense go against another starting quarterback in the NFL. Did we look good against Patrick Mahomes? I mean, no. But A, he was already starting in the red zone. B, it's Patrick freaking Mahomes. Like, what are we supposed to do, right? We need to get a little bit more reps, a little bit more looks his way in order for us to really judge the defensive line. But I would love to see Bo Nix. I would love to see Bo Nix. Is it going to happen? Let's see. We got another game come Saturday. The Arizona Cardinals do kick off versus the Denver Broncos. There will be a joint practice. But the Cardinals, again, are slated to be August 16th, this coming Saturday at 6:30 p.m. So we got a lot of late games this preseason. A lot of late games is what the Cardinals are playing. Week 2, Broncos. Week 3, Raiders. And that one's back at home. But yeah, overall, this is what we really should be focusing on here. Multiple turnovers need to be cleaned up. Offensive line looked pretty darn solid. Number 3, bubble players. And number 4, got to knock that rust off. Got to knock that rust off, right? Juan in the chat says Tyler Shook looks kind of good. I mean, yeah. I honestly, I haven't sat down and actually watch it. If I'm going to be real, I don't even know who the Saints played. To be real with you, let me take a look here. Who did they end up playing? Saints played the Chargers. Chargers beat them 27-13. If Tyler Shook will be starting, if he will be starting, I'm sorry, he most likely will be starting, but if, right? We're going to throw that out there. If he's going to be starting versus week 1, what he did in week 1 versus preseason was 15 of 22, 165, 1 interception, 1 touchdown. And it's actually that's not bad at all. It's actually pretty solid, to be honest with you. Spencer Radler. Yeah. I mean, on paper, yeah, Tyler Shook didn't look bad. But that's a team you need to win. That's a team you need to beat. No doubt. That's a team you need to beat. Let's keep it with the comments here. Oh, here we go. I'll be there down the road in Denver for me. Awesome. You're going to be at the Denver game? That's cool. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Well, when you're there, let us know how the weather is. I did see the stadium because I visited Denver a long time ago. It's a really cool stadium. It's a really cool city. Denver's a really nice city. I like it. But yeah, this is the stuff that I really want to focus on here moving forward. Van the Man says that INT was a pick 6 though. Laugh aloud. You're talking about the what are you talking about? The Kyler Murray pick? Is that what you're talking about? Well, yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that it was I don't think anybody's talking about was it a are we talking about Shook, this pick? I'm confused. Maybe help clarify. I'm confused. Because that Kyler Murray one wasn't. Let's keep it going here. Steve in the chat says, did you see Xavier Thomas blow up 2 guys on the Darren Hall interception? Yep, saw that. Hey, man, this defensive line is looking pretty darn good. This defensive line is looking pretty darn good. Like, the depth that we have is looking pretty darn good. Now, I don't really have a fair assessment for the starters. Like, I'm going to be real. Like, we only saw the starters probably with 1 drive, right? And that's because Patrick Mahomes was already in the red zone. So I can't really give a fair assessment when it coming down to it. But also, we didn't have Calais out there, which is probably most likely going to be a starter, right? We didn't have Josh Sweat out there. And Jonathan Gannon came out and says that Josh Sweat could have played. Josh Sweat could have played. But they just want to be cautious, right? He's your best weapon on the edge. At least the biggest proven weapon that you have on the edge. Keep him healthy. Be smart. Be smart. Gotcha. Talking about Tyler Shook. Gotcha. He threw a pick. Oh, didn't know that. Okay. Well, hopefully the Arizona Cardinals can benefit from getting another pick 6 off him. That would be wonderful. In the regular season, of course. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, Josh Sweat. We haven't even seen what this defensive line can look like full go. We haven't. I think they look pretty darn solid, right? I think they look pretty darn solid. Our depth that we have here on this defensive line and cornerback room, I'm excited about it, man. This is going to be really, really good. Another thing to kind of note and talk about here, that this whole game was interesting. Like, this whole game from the jump was very, very interesting. The Arizona Cardinals second stringers and third stringers were fighting hard to win a spot on this 53. There's something to be said about an organization and a team and players that know if I put my best foot forward, I could potentially land a spot here in this team, right? Darren Hall looking crazy good, right? I do hope he cracks the roster. I really do. I hope he cracks the roster. When I was originally doing my 53-man prediction, I didn't put him on there. But now that I'm really, again, looking at Darren Hall again for the second year in preseason, I think he deserves it, bro. I really do. I think he absolutely deserves it. But we'll see. The cornerback room right now is pretty darn intriguing, right? Your top 3, Melton, Williams, and then Johnson. Who's after them? Keitrell, Burke, Jalen Jones, right? That would be cool. That would be cool for Darren Hall to make it. But we'll see. Valley Vibes in the chat says, I'm not worried about our defense. Our D wasn't supposed to be as good as they were last year. Yeah, I agree. 100%. There was games last year that the Arizona Cardinals defense didn't show up. But please keep in mind, look at the players that we had on that defense last year. It wasn't good. It wasn't. So for the people out there that were mad at me, right, saying things like, oh, you let this defense slide, right? But the defense didn't have anything. They didn't have anything to kind of really prove. All they had was their heart, and they're playing hard for for JG. That's all they had. They didn't have these players that they have now, right? So, yeah, we're going to be leaning very, very heavy on this defense in 2025 to hopefully win us some games. Absolutely. Absolutely. Chef in the chat says, Mike, it's really like what I've seen. Mike, it's really like what I've seen from the defense. So you're saying you really like what you've seen from the... Yeah, I mean, the defense looks good, right? I can't really say too much about the first string. The only thing I can say is that in training camp, they looked solid, right? And we only really saw them in like one drive. And I'm talking about the full defensive line and all the defensive players that are going to be starters. But we also didn't see the full 100% defense this game. We didn't see Sweat. We didn't see Calais, right? So it's hard to really judge. But I know on paper, they're going to be pretty darn solid, right? On paper, they're going to be pretty darn solid. Cards fan says, has Darren Hall made the 53-man roster before? I feel like he's always around. I don't think he made it last year, if I'm going to be real. I don't 100% remember. Let's see. Darren Hall. So Darren Hall was drafted by the Falcons in the 4th round in 2021. So let me see here. Darren Hall. So he was with the Falcons in 2021 to 2022. He was drafted there. I don't think he made the cut because he ended up going to the Colts practice squad in 2023. And in 2024, he was with the Cardinals in 2024. So yeah, I guess he was on the roster on 2024. We just didn't really see him a lot, I guess. Unless I'm tripping. But yeah, he was in the Cardinals, the Colts, I guess, and then back with the Cardinals. I'm looking at the Wikipedia right now, by the way. I guess he made the roster for the Cardinals. I guess so. Maybe cut Jalen Jones and Elijah Jones and keep Darren Hall. I'm cool. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. I don't know if he made it. I mean, per Wikipedia, it does say that he did make the roster for the Cardinals. But I think he was with the practice squad, if I'm going to be real. Let me see here. Cardinals. Sorry, I'm trying to see here. I don't know if he actually made the roster. He signed a future contract with the Cardinals. 2024. He was waived in November the 4th. The Colts got him, claimed him off, and then he was waived in 20. I think he was with the Cardinals in preseason last year. He didn't make it. I got to look a little bit more into it. I know he was in the preseason last year. Let's see what he does this year. I mean, he's proven to be a pretty darn good player, right? He's proven to be a pretty darn good player so far. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what can happen for Darren Hall, no doubt. Mike, and nice. Well, Chef, if you're on Instagram or Twitter, at me. I would love to see it, man. I would love to see it. That is going to be my next jersey as well. I'm excited to go ahead and get my next jersey, and it's probably most likely going to be Trey. I already got my white, icy white jersey for Marvin, and I think most likely the next one is going to be Trey McBride. If you do have an Instagram or a Twitter, go ahead and at me. I would love to see it, man. Did we get an update on Elijah Jones? Yeah, Elijah Jones, per Jonathan Gannon, got hurt, but he went back right into the game. So for what it's worth, I think Elijah Jones got hurt, went back into the game. He did list off 2 players that were hurt. That's going to be one of them being Tristan Jackson and the other one, Christian Jones, offensive tackle. I think he said Tristan Jackson had a thumb, and then Jones something leg. I think it might have been a knee, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, apparently Elijah Jones went back into the game. Did I notice? I didn't until Jonathan Gannon ended up saying it. So let's keep reading the comments here. Maybe Johnson will pick off Tyler Shook. Love to see it. Efren in the chat says bye-bye tune. I do think that the Cardinals will only be carrying 2 quarterbacks. If I'm gonna be real, I think they're only gonna be carrying 2 quarterbacks. And if they do carry 2 quarterbacks, that means obviously Tune's gonna get put onto the practice squad. I'm waiting on the new desert jerseys to buy a ooh-wee. I might have to wait too. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm kind of in debate right now if I should get them now or waiting, because we should be seeing the rival jerseys by the end of this month, is what we heard. By the end of this month, we should be seeing the Nike rivalry jerseys that we're going to be sporting in one game versus the Seattle Seahawks. And I believe that's going to be the primetime game, Cardinals versus Seahawks. So, yeah, it's going to be cool. I'm excited. Mason in the chat says Kyler was trying to do a no-look pass that INT. I think that's what people are saying, right? That's what people are saying right now, that there's so many clips out there that Kyler Murray wasn't even looking that direction but tossed it. I mean, I guess regardless of what it is, it was still a bad pass. It was still a bad pick. It was still a bad pass. Even Kyler Murray said earlier today he didn't put enough air on it, right? Whether it was a no look or not, this is what Kyler Murray ended up having to say about the INT.
Just didn't get enough on it. Again, that's something that in practice, it's tough to. I'm never really rolling out full speed as if somebody's actually going to tackle me, and yeah, it's weird. It's kind of weird to explain, but yeah, just got to get more on it. And then I'm glad it happened though. I'm glad it happened because I would hate for that to be New Orleans, and it means something,
And although I do agree, how you learn from those mistakes is admitting that that wasn't a good thing, right? If we're, I don't know when people are, if people are saying, like, if people are trying to come to the aid to say, oh, it's okay, it was a no look pass, it's fine. It's not fine. It's not fine to put the ball at risk, because even Jonathan Gannon, when asked about the INT, he said that Kyler Murray knows the value of the ball. I don't think he was happy about that INT. I mean, it was not a good throw, regardless of if he was trying to do a no look pass or not. That wasn't a good throw, right? JG, this is what JG ended up saying.
Interceptions this time of year, whether it's in camp, preseason, joint practice, do you almost view that as a good thing or a necessary thing for an offense to figure out what it can, or a quarterback to figure out what it can do and can't be?
I mean, you guys just talked to the quarterback. I think he just left it a little bit short. I thought that was a really good play by that guy because he was not covering the guy that he was throwing it to. So hats off to him. That was a really good play. But no, Teo, Kyler knows the value of the ball, but
boom, there you go. That's it. Kyler knows the value of the ball. He doesn't. JG does not feel like those things are important or necessary to happen, right? Oh, I'm going to throw this because I want to be Patrick Mahomes, right? I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not, but there is a narrative out there that it's okay because he was trying to do a no-look pass. No, he's got to learn from that. And I know Kyler is, and I'm not saying Kyler Murray said it's a no-look pass. It's all these Kyler Murray stands that are coming out of the woodworks, right, that say that Kyler Murray can't do no wrong. When Kyler Murray can admit that he's done these things and this is what he should have done better, that's a lot. I want to hear that over, oh, this is a no-look pass, right? Kyler Murray already knew it was a mistake. I should have put more air on it. Good. Okay, cool. Let's learn, right? Week 1 is going to be where it's most important. So, yeah, to me, I don't know or I understand it. I apologize. I understand why this whole narrative is being pushed so bad, because there's a group of people out there that are Kyler Murray fans, not Cardinal fans. They might be Cardinal fans, but they're Kyler Murray fans, right? There's a difference between Cardinal fans and players, right? Player fans. There's a completely difference, right? At the end of the day, if Kyler Murray's not here, I'm still going to be a Cardinal fan through and through, right? There's people that are going to follow their favorite player. And those are probably those people that are kind of making this narrative. And whether it's true or it's not true, we got to call it like it is, right? It was not a good throw. Kyler said it. JG said, no, it's not. He shouldn't have. He knows the value of the ball, right? So it happened, right? It happened. Is people blowing it out of proportion a little bit? Yeah, I mean, yeah, some people are blowing it out of proportion, but some people feel snake bitten, right? Some Cardinal fans feel like, dang, this is what Kyler does all the damn time. So I see both sides of the coin. I really do. I'm just happy, just like Kyler said, I'm happy it wasn't in week 1 versus the Saints. That's all I can say, right? That's all I can say. But overall, man, fun game. Week 1 versus preseason. Week 1 versus the The Chiefs, fun game. But this is what I want to focus on, right? This is my focus on week 1. The multiple turnovers that happen, how do we get those cleaned up? The offensive line looked good. Bubble players to really keep your eye on, right? And then just kind of knocking out the rust in general. That's really what I want to focus on. And that's what I'm going to focus on week 2 as well. If Kyler Murray comes out here and throws 2 interceptions and they're really bad interceptions, then of course we're going to talk about it again. But as of right now, the very first play, it was Dortch, right? Got the ball back. We were humming along. It was doing good. They were an interception. They scored some more points after that, and then the Cardinals got it right. Second stringer and third stringers, they got it right. So we got the dub. Sarah in the chat says K1 throws a little short. I mean, not necessarily. I don't think all the time. I mean, I think Kyler Murray had a really good game outside that throw. He was 7 for 8, 96 yards. And he got involved with his legs as well. I thought he actually had a pretty good game with the exception of that throw. Right? So, yeah, for what it's worth, there's that. Valley Vibes in the chat says Tip Ryman look good. I'm excited to see what he can do. Hopefully, he can start. Dude, the Chiefs, they were dealing with so many injuries. Like, we had our own little, share of injuries as well with Christian Jones, Tristan Jackson, and we saw Elijah Jones get hurt but came back into the game. But the Chiefs ended up, like, this game took them out probably for some portion of the season. Like, the Chiefs are going to be dealing with who do we have to replace this guy, right? So they're dealing with it, man. They're dealing with it. Appreciate you, Valley Vibes. Steve in the chat says, I'm not necessarily a Kyler fan, but I'm a Cardinals fan. And I don't think it was a big deal. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal, too. I'm a Cardinals fan, too. I'm a fan of Kyler because he's our QB, right? I'm a fan of Kyler because he's a QB. But I'm not those fans that feel like nothing he does is wrong or not wrong. Wrong. Right? Is that what you get what I mean? I'm a fan because he is our quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals. I'm a fan of the Arizona Cardinals first. If they move off of Kyler, I will be a fan of that new QB, right? So, does that make sense? But yeah, I mean, I also don't think it's a big deal either. Do I think it was a bad throw? Of course I do. It's not a good throw. It was terrible. But I don't think it's a big deal either. Cards Kingdom. That was a no-look pass. There you go. Here we go. Cards Kingdom in the chat says that was a no-look pass. Okay. I mean, I didn't hear Kyler say it. I know people put it all over X and Twitter and freeze framed it and had his head looking one specific way while he threw it that way, right? A specific way. I mean, regardless if it was a no-look pass or not, it wasn't good. It wasn't executed good. He's not Patrick Mahomes, right? And I'm not sure if he was trying to bring in the, Patrick Mahomes because they were playing the Chiefs. Like, if he was trying to be him, he's not Patrick Mahomes. So, yeah, I hope he doesn't do that in the regular season. Other than that mistake, Kyler looked great. Yeah, I agree. 100% agree. Think he looked good as well. We always forget the Saints D line is aggressive. Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. The Broncos that we're going to be playing, their D line is really good, and that's one of the reasons why I really want the Cardinals to play the Saints. Well, not the Saints. Oh my God, I'm dumb. I want them to play the Broncos in week 2 of preseason, even if it's a drive or two. Throw them out there. That defensive line for the Broncos is really, really good, really good. So why not get an opportunity to kind of replicate, right? What we might see with the Saints, yeah, throw them out there. I would love it. I would love it. Javier in the chat. AZ Sports fan, I think a year 7 league starting quarterback that's great won't do that. So you can see until proven otherwise. Same Kyler. And here's the thing, right? That's why I said Javier. And going back to Cards Kingdom, right? I see both sides of the coin. I really do. Right? I see both sides of the coin. The people who feel like this, that he is a year 7 QB and he shouldn't be doing things like that. And I see the other side of the coin as well, where it's not that big of a deal. I hope he learns, right? I see both sides. So I don't think anybody's crazy. I agree. I'm just right now going into this year with fresh eyes, and I'm hoping that we're not talking about getting a new QB in the draft next year. That's all I can hope for. What I'm looking for is a playoff win this year. playoff win, playoff berth, and hopefully our team can get back to national relevance. That's all I can hope for, right? But I get it. I understand it. I get it. I understand it. Real quick word from our sponsor, My Valley Prints. Shout out to them. Then we're going to be finishing off the next 15 minutes, and then we'll be closing up shop. But yes, first things first, word from our sponsor.
Yo, Red Sea, you know how we rep the cards with pride every Sunday, so why not rep your own squad the same way? Whether it's your business, your team, or your crew, My Valley Prints has you covered with custom screen prints and embroidery right here in the desert. T-shirts, hats, hoodies, you name it. From clean logos to bold game day drip, they'll make your vision look like a first-round pick. Local, reliable, and always bringing that Cardinal level energy. Hit up myvalleyprints@yahoo.com or DM them via Instagram to get your gear started. My Valley Prints, built for the Valley, designed for you.
There you go. Shout out here to My Valley Prints, your proud sponsors of the Easy Sports Fan here. Make sure you check them out if you're looking for custom shirts, hats, jerseys, anything that you need to get done the right way. Make sure you check out My Valley Prints. All right, let's go ahead and continue to rock out here within the comments here. You guys are absolutely flooding the comments. I appreciate you guys. Do me a huge favor. Smack up the like button. Right now, we got over 60 of you guys here on the YouTube side. Smack up the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you guys for being here up and foremost. Smack it up. Smack it up. We're sitting with only 31 likes right now. That's crazy. Or in the words of Kyler Murray, that's egregious. Let's keep it going here. We got Mark in the chat says, scrub blockers stop playing with Kyler Murray. I don't really know exactly what this means, but Mark seems to be very, very upset. Okay. Sarah in the chat says, I've had enough of KC and Patrick Mahomes. I think we all kind of had enough of Patrick Mahomes already, but I mean, he is the most winning quarterback right now in the NFL. So we got to give kudos to where kudos is. Same way that I felt about when, Tom Brady was in this league. Didn't want to see him win, but you kind of have to respect what they are able to do because it ain't easy. It ain't easy one bit. Van in the chat. What's up, Van? I thought Trey Hendrickson led the league in sacks at that position. Yes. Trey Hendrickson had the most sacks last year at 17.5. And I think he was the most, he had most in 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. 17.5 Trey Hendrickson had. Yeah, he did. Let's keep it going with the chat here. Mark in the chat's continuing here. Okay, K1 is a great athlete and QB. Okay, let's keep it going. No comment on that. All right. Juan in the chat says Zach Allen is going to fall harder than a rock. What do you mean? You don't think he's going to have a big impact versus the Broncos? Or in the Broncos? Or you mean like after he got paid, he's not going to be good? What do you mean, Juan? I'm confused. I think Zach Allen's a really good player. I honestly thought Zach Allen was a good player when he was with the Cardinals as well. Now, did he give the production that he did with the Broncos to the Cardinals? I mean, no, but he was trending in that direction. It's just the Cardinals at that time did not want to pay a guy, I guess, that amount of money, I guess is my only kind of thing on it. I don't know. Let's keep it going here. Jakai, what's up, man? Van, yeah, but Allen not an edge rush. Yeah, Allen more on the inside. I don't think he plays on the outside. I think he's listed as a defensive end. I think he's listed as a defensive end, and obviously depending on the formations that are out. But yeah, he had 8.5 sacks last year. Yeah, I mean, he had a pretty good season. I mean, he got paid pretty darn well in extension, so good for him. Good for him. Maze in the chat. Oh, sorry, not Maze. Mace. I apologize, Mace. I still trust in K1, but whatever happens, happens. I'll always be a Cards fan, but I don't want us to trade him. Okay, fair. Kojet, what's up, Kojet? Sorry, I am late. AZ win, but if you want to watch his highlights, you have thought Chiefs did. I mean, I thought there were some pretty good plays from the Cardinals. I see where you're coming from, though. I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying for sure. But yeah, I mean, I thought the Cardinals played pretty solid. Honestly, I think they had some plays that were definitely worth noting. Of course, you had a lot of the third stringers playing the majority of the second half for the Cardinals, but overall, I mean, I think that second string uh, offense did pretty good to keep us in there, right? Jacoby Brissett had 2 touchdowns, right? One to Weaver and the other one to Amari DeMarcado. Jacoby Brissett looks to be pretty darn good as a backup QB. I'm excited about him. Can we talk about Jordan Burch being the next Myles Garrett? Yeah. Let's pump the brakes real quick. I mean, if he is, then damn, we got ourselves a steal in the 3rd round, right? I want to see what Jordan Burch does in this game too. If he continues to wreak the dominance that he did, man, it would be really hard to not kind of jump on the table and say, put him on the field, right? As a rotational guy, right? Because right now, on the other side of Josh Sweat, Baron Browning, B.J. Ojulari, is he ever going to stay healthy, right? Burch. There's one more guy that I'm completely blanking on. I have no idea why. And he's a very important player. Why am I blanking on him right now? Oh, Zaven. Zaven Collins, Baron Browning, Burch. If B.J. Ojulari gets out, right? I mean, right now, Josh Sweat seems to be the most, we know what he can do, right? But if Burch does that again in game 2 versus the Broncos, yikes, man. Yikes. Burch has the talent of Gary. Woo! A lot of high praises up in here. Okay. Brandon in the chat says, year 7 and how many winning seasons Kyler under center? Can you share that, Mark? Where's Mark? Where's my guy, Mark? I feel like people are having some sort of back and forth here in the chat that I'm not privy to right now, but I would love to see what Mark has to say. Mark is the guy that was saying that I knew that he was a great QB, right? Gotcha. I mean, nobody can really prove it, man. Nobody really can prove it. But at the end of the day, if people want to believe it, let them believe it. Like, that's fine. Like, you're gonna get a portion of a fan base that feels a specific way. It is what it is. Like, it's just opinions, right? Everybody's got an opinion. It is what it is. Even the Chiefs podcasters were impressed with Burch. Yeah, man, Burch did well, man. He really did. He was on the stat sheet. It's not going to show up, but if you watch the game, like, this kid looks good, man. Like, real good. Let's see what Jordan Burch can do in game. Like, show me again, right? Show me again. But 6'4", 280, he looks explosive. And like I said before, I did not have Jordan Burch as any of my prospects that I wanted the Cardinals to get at edge, right? But again, I don't go as deep as these organizations do because I don't get paid for it. So, and if he does pan out to be that guy, sheesh, man. Tune might be the worst pick for Monty. No, I don't think so. I don't think Tune's the worst pick for Monty. We probably can list off multiple other picks. But no, yeah, Burch looked good. I'm sorry, but if we don't make it to the playoffs, it's time to move on from Kyler. Need to be traded. You can't be a franchise to be scared to move off. Fair? Stop fixating on the INT. QBs throw INTs if some people didn't know that. Yeah, agree. We get it. Everyone is criticizing Kyler because, so including me, but it's a prove it year. Either proves it or move on, hopefully. And that's the thing, right? That's the thing. I don't think people are quite, like I said, like, you got to also know who you're talking to, right? So this chat that we have here, it's going to be a mix of multiple different people with multiple different opinions, right? You're going to have your guys that are Cardinal fans and guys that are Kyler fans and guys that are Kyler fans / Cardinal fans, right? And here's the thing. If you're straight a Kyler Murray fan, you can't have those conversations with them, right? Like, if you're just a Kyler Murray fan and you would follow him to the depths of the earth and everything is great about him and you don't think he does any wrong, you got to watch out for those people because there's no winning a conversation with those guys, right? There's no winning a conversation because there's no actual basis to believe that they exactly know what they're spewing, if that makes sense. Do we feel like Kyler Murray is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL? Well, I mean, right now, the national perspective doesn't feel like that. I mean, they feel like he's middle line, right? At least the national perspective. The Athletic ended up throwing this list out earlier this morning. The national perspective is that Kyler Murray is average, right? Average. 15. Now, if you don't believe this is real, or if you don't believe multiple executives, because this comes from people that are within the NFL. This list is compiled of 6 general managers, 6 assistant GMs, 6 former GMs, 5 other executives, 8 head coaches, and 19 other coaches, including 15 coordinators, is what this list is compiled by. And we mentioned before, I don't think Kyler Murray, again, is going to make it to the top 100, right? I think we're sitting already in number 38. There's no way Kyler Murray is going to be in the 38. If he wasn't going to be anywhere in the 50s or 60s, Kyler Murray is not going to be on the top 100 again. The last time he was in the top 100 was back in 2022. So this is what the national perspective is on current quarterback one. That he's middle of the pack, right? Which isn't bad. You can win a Super Bowl with middle of the pack. You can, right? You can win a Super Bowl with somebody that's in the middle of the pack. You can. You can go to the playoffs with somebody that's in the middle of the pack. Absolutely. So this is the national perspective for what it's worth. Whether you believe it or you don't believe it. It's what people believe with this current quarterback state. And it's probably why people don't believe so much on this team right now, right? And that's why people are always like, oh, we're always getting disrespected. But, I mean, we got to prove it, and we haven't proved it. So it is what it is. Another thing to kind of know, NFC West related. I'm not sure if you guys saw this, but we did see Ian Rappaport ended up retweeting this specific tweet. And apparently for the Los Angeles Rams, the plan was to have Matthew Stafford practice today, right? But per Adam Grossbard, he says this: Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford is in street clothes today. Expectation was he would return to practice today. So for what it's worth, the Rams might be dealing with some things, man. The Rams might be dealing with some things now. Now, here's another update. This tweet right here that you're seeing from Matthew Stafford, this came out probably about 2 hours ago, maybe about an hour and a half ago. There's another quote from Matthew Stafford. I'm sorry, another quote from Sean McVay that just dropped. This is what Sean McVay had to say. So this is what he had to say about when he was asked, because it says, would able to be played this week had it been a regular season game. So I guess somebody asked, would Matthew Stafford be able to play this week if this was a regular season game? And he says, I don't know that. I think he still probably would be able to play just based on how he feels. So he was supposed to practice today. So for what it's worth, he's in street clothes. Whether you want to look too much into it or you don't want to look too much into it, right? He's not practicing. Should Rams fans be a little worried? I mean, some might say. Some might say. But yeah, latest update here from the NFC West. Matthew Stafford, his timeline was supposed to be practicing today and didn't. He's in street clothes. Is there another roundtable soon? Yes, every Tuesday. Every Tuesday on the NFC West Roundtable YouTube channel. Every Tuesday, we will be going live. Every Tuesday. Yep. Thank you. Kyler is no star QB, but like you said, a supporting cast can take you to the playoffs with a middle ground quarterback. Yeah, and that's why. Here's the thing, right? And I retweeted this. I ended up retweeting this specific rankings, and I said, okay, ball out, Kyler. That's it. That's it. There's nothing for me to say. I'm not going to come out here and stand on a soapbox saying Kyler Murray should be top 10. I'm also not going to diminish anybody that's in the top 14. I'm not going to diminish any of those guys, right? At one point last year, I would have said Kyler's better than Purdy. But if you look at statistically, or not statistically, but if you looked at what they've done for their teams, Purdy has proven that he can win the big games. Jordan Love, I mean, he's proven that he can win big games. Prescott, I get the narrative out there, but he still has a really good record. Baker Mayfield revived his career. Hurts, Super Bowl champion. CJ Stroud going into his year 3, already winning titles for the division, right? Goff revived his career with the Lions, had a really good year. Herbert, I know some people that are saying that's debatable right there, but okay, it is what it is. Daniels, crazy rookie year. Stafford, Super Bowl champion, Lamar Jackson, Allen, Burrow, Mahomes. We don't need to say more. All right. We don't need to say more. This is the national perspective of where Kyler Murray is. 15. And it is what it is. We can still win. It's up to him to prove it. It's up to him to prove it. Keep it with one more comment, and then we will be closing up shop right here. Appreciate you guys for up and foremost for being here. Smack the like button on your way in. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. JW Memories, what's up? I would say I'm a Cardinals fan, but I'm also a K1 fan. But what's out there can you replace him with? He's better than what a lot of QBs that we have that won a Super Bowl. It's all about defense. Yeah, I mean, this is a good perspective, right? This is a good perspective. Here's the thing. The Cardinals were in no way, shape, or form looking for any quarterbacks that were going to be QB1. They know what's in front of them. They knew what they had there, right? They know the potential that can be unlocked. Now, has that potential been unlocked? We've seen it in spurts for Kyler. The problem is that we're not seeing consistently, right? We're not seeing the big wins, right? We're not seeing the November and December football wins. And that's what people are upset with. But you are right? You are right that, who would you replace him with? But here's the thing. It takes an organization to really be in on a specific, this is going to be my next QB, right? Because believe it or not, Jackson Dart, I'm not saying Jackson Dart's the next Messiah, but the Cardinals were in possibility to potentially draft him. Would I have drafted him with the first round pick? No, I wouldn't have. But if the Cardinals were sold in that they were ready to move on, they would have done it. Same thing with Shador Sanders. If they were ready to move on or at least trying to plan for the future, they would have done it. But the Arizona Cardinals were in no mindset that they were looking for a QB1. They got themselves a really good backup quarterback in Jacoby Brissett that is familiar with Drew Petzing's offense. If the Cardinals were in their mindset that they were looking for the future, they could have done it, right? Does that make sense of what I'm trying to say? But they weren't. They weren't thinking that way. You get a quarterback in round 1, 2, and 3, the narratives change. Things shift. The Cardinals don't want that type of narrative on this season when it's a big year for Petzing, this offense, and Kyler, right? So, yes, you're right in terms of what else is out there, but the Cardinals could have made a decision to pivot if they wanted to. They didn't want to, right? And that's fine. That's fine. We all agree that this is a big year for Kyler, Petzing, and this rest of this offense. So, is Dart better than Kyler? No, right? At least, no, not in the NFL. Not right now, no. Is Shador better than Kyler? No, not right now. No, absolutely not. But you can make some sort of plan in the future if you were this organization. The problem, not the problem, but they didn't want to, right? They were full bought in that Kyler Murray is the guy in 2025. 2026, we can't speak. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen in 2025. But hopefully that makes sense. We should get Arch Manning. Yeah, I don't hate that. Valley Vibes. Cardinals were old QBs come back to flourish and new QBs come to die. Yeesh. Well, with that note, I think it's a good spot to go ahead and end the stream right here. Great comment, Valley Vibes. Appreciate you guys up and foremost. You guys are all absolutely amazing. We'll be closing up shop right here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Smack the like button on your way in. Also, subscribe. We are on the road to 18K. Yes, that has shifted, ladies and gentlemen. We're on the road to 18K. Cannot do it without you guys at all. Appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cardinals.